Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Rachel's STEM Survival for Teens. Today, we are going to be building our own water filter using some simple items that you can find at home. You're going to need a knife in order to cut some things up. The most interesting ingredient here is our activated charcoal. You're going to need some charcoal. If you are, say, camping, you can start a fire. You can take the embers and grind them up and have some good charcoal that way. Otherwise, you can buy it from the store. It's pretty simple. Here I have some sand. We're going to be needing that sand. I have a cotton ball. I have a couple of jars. You need something that you can hang your filter in. So this works well, but really anything that you can fit the filter in once we start that process works really well. And this, of course, is our nasty pond water that we're going to be filtering. And this is half of a soda can. For time reason, or soda plastic bottle. For time reasons, I cut it already for you, but as you see, I have cut the bottom off of that. So this is going to be the main part that we use. This, I mean, you could use it as your little cup when you're done filtering. I don't know. Put it aside. And then I said cotton ball. Okay. So to start with, as I said, for time purposes, I have already cut the top off of this water bottle, or this soda bottle. I have also drilled a hole in the lid. You can see that there. So I don't know, you can hear these birds. It is such a beautiful day out. Birds are singing, everything's happy. All right, so we have our bottle with the top cut off. Let's start with this cotton ball right here and shove that in the front. There's kind of a little bit too much cotton. Let's make it just a little bit smaller. So you want to adjust so that it fits in the lid. You don't need quite so much that it's overflowing like that. So we'll set that aside. There we go. It's about right. You need to be able to put the lid on. So there we go. You have your hole in the bottom and you have it shoved in there with cotton. Might even have to go lower. Nope, we got it to work. All right. So very simple. From there, you just want to sit that in your little stand so that it's, you know, out of the way. It's got enough space that as the water filters, it can drip through there. And then we're just going to add some layers. So this is the sand right here. It's pretty fine. You don't want too rough of a sand. I have seen people put a layer of gravel in their water filters as well. That'll work. So, you know, probably about that much sand. You can eyeball it. This isn't a super precise science. Enough to fill that. And now we want to put a layer of our charcoal next. There we go. Probably use about half of what I have in there. Try not to spill too much. All right. Now another layer of sand on top of the charcoal. Squish that around. Looks like we need just a little more sand. We want to just cover that charcoal and have a little layer above it. We had left off with our second layer of sand on top of activated charcoal. So far, what you're looking at is the cotton ball that's shoved into the lid that has the hole in it. You have sand, you have a layer of charcoal, and you have sand. So we're going to add one more layer here of our activated charcoal. Put that in there. You can really see the black in there. And then we're going to finish it off with the rest of the sand that I have here. So you have a pretty full bottle. I mean, you have to put this stuff in slowly and give it time to filter as well. So here we go, all of our layers. And now, as I said, this is our nasty pond water. You don't get the joy of smelling this. I got it out of my garden, mixed some water in, and it's pretty gross. That's all dirt in the bottom. That's not charcoal. And it's compost dirt, so it smells lovely. So we're just gonna pour that in. You have to pour it in slowly. You don't want to overflow, and it's gonna take some time to drip through. You can kind of watch. One of the things that's fun about this bottle is you can watch the water as it sort of permeates down through the layers. And what's happening is a pretty naturally occurring filtration process. You've noticed that rivers, of course, have a lot of rocks, and it's actually purifying as it goes down. So it's pretty neat to watch. You can see these little layers. And the other thing that it is important to note is this water process will purify your water in the sense that it'll filter it. I'm sorry, it won't purify it, it'll filter it. So it's very important if you are outdoors and you create this filter that you boil your water when you're done. All kinds of nasty things can live in water from nature. That doesn't mean you can't make it drinkable. That's the amazing thing about these STEM survival videos. But this is only step one of the filtration process. And you definitely want to do your step two, which is going to be, of course, boiling your water to make sure you have all the stuff out. Now, I'm not sure how clear it is on the camera, but you can see where the water is really starting to permeate. It's through the first layer here of sand and charcoal, and it's now moving into the second layer of charcoal. Soon it will go through the sand, and when we're done, you're gonna have water that starts dripping out of the bottom. Let's just give it a few minutes. Let the water do its job. And as I was saying, there's some other methods of a water filter that you can do. There's a lot of other versions. The most important step that you need is some kind of sand here in your bottom layer and some kind of charcoal in your filter as well. Other than that, you can use some coarse gravel. I've seen that kind of get some of the nastiness out. And there's a lot of other things. So I'd encourage you to look those up if this is something that interests you. And I even saw a great step where you can start your fire, you can create your embers as I mentioned before, and then you can mash those up to create your own charcoal. I had to cheat, of course, because where I live, they look down on open fires from the HOA. So we did buy ours from the store. Now I'm just going to tilt the camera up a little bit. You can see how far we've gone. The water was up to this line. It's actually got probably almost an inch, maybe not quite, soaked through. It's definitely down into this last layer of sand. It's working its way to this very bottom layer where it's going to go through the hole, and it looks like as it goes, it's mixing it up.
15 minutes later.
All right, so we've had about 15 to 20 minutes go by. And this is our water. There's a little bit of, no, that's just on the bottom of the jar. There's nothing in there except some clear water. Those little spots are just pieces of activated charcoal that are stuck on the bottom of the jar from when I was pouring it in. They're not even in the water itself. But this is where we started. And this is our end result right here. Clear, beautiful water out of this muddy, mucky, smelly mess.